Richician!
Welcome back to this is part 6, and yeah, the final part where I now count down my top 10 favourite decks of all time. Like, even though you can probably guess what the top 3 are, we're gonna do this anyway. So, in at number 10, Cats. A deck idea that I came up with some point last year now. For those who don't know, cats are my favourite animal in the animal kingdom. There's been a lot of cat cards in the game belonging to different archetypes. Because I love cats so much and think they're so cute, I wanted to make a deck based on cat monsters, even though it's just completely random, isn't competitive by any means, but it's just still a lot of fun. I thought I'd pick these ones to show: Rescue Cat, and 2 of my favourites, Melfi Catty and Catsia Tribe. Catsia Tribe being an old school favourite of mine. Yeah, even though it's not exactly one of the best decks, it's still a ton of fun to play. There are some good, cool things the deck can do. Yeah, even just flooding the field with absolute cuteness, and even turning them into boss monsters that can deal with whatever the opponent has, basically. And yeah, it's just more for the entertainment than anything, just like my fish deck. So they're just adorable and a lot of fun. That's just what they're there for, basically. Number 9, Egyptian Gods. Another series of Yugi cards that I like, with Obelisk the Tormentor being my absolute favourite, which might seem surprising to people considering Yugi plays Slifer the Sky Dragon, and I'm a big fan of Yugi, but no, I actually like Obelisk a lot more, because I think he's the best one, really, because he's the only one with solid attack and defence, because at least then I know what I'm getting, and for some reason he's the only one that has targeting immunity, whereas the other 2 don't. Doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, Slifer and Rob would have been even better if they had targeting immunity as well, but oh well. And yeah, Obelisk is one that I have tried to play in other decks, because why not? Now, even though I do play these in 3 other decks, Magnet Warriors, Arcana Knights, and Yugi Gadgets, I still wanted to play all 3 of them in a deck. I mean, first I tried to combine them with Heretics, but it didn't work too well. It was a bit slow and inconsistent and bricky, and funnily enough they proved to be better in their own archetype. Well, I say that, but at the moment Ra has more support than the other ones, and it was just really a question of playing Slifer and Obelisk in a Ra deck as well, but also playing their signature spells as well, and Crossed Souls, which made them easier to bring out. Now, unfortunately, the deck can still brick, and it's not that consistent, but again, once it goes off, well, it's difficult to overcome them. Unless, of course, you're playing Egerton. God's sake. That was just so annoying in that Battle Royale. I was hoping Egerton's effect would only work on monsters with a level less than 10, but nope, it's 10 or less. It's quite annoying, but oh well. Either way, there's still a lot of fun. It's just great being able to bring them out, and there's a few different ways to do it, either with the Numeron package or with Egyptian God slime, which I can make with Metal Reflect slime or Guardian slime. So at the very least, they're easier to bring out now. Obviously, Slifer and Obelisk do need more support, whereas Ra is fine for support, I think. Now, I know there are a couple of traps that support Obelisk in the OCG, Magical Trick Mirror and that Fist card. Like, I don't remember what its first effect does, but I do know that you can banish it from the graveyard to add Obelisk from your deck or graveyard to hand. But so far there isn't anything for Slifer, besides Thunder Force attack. I mean, I know Express Gaming would love to see more Slifer support, since Slifer is his favourite god card. But I'm sure we'll get something like that one day. Oops. Number 8, Blackluster Soldier, my favourite ritual archetype, and Blackluster Soldier Super Soldier ended up becoming my favourite ritual monster in the game, just due to the fact that it's a ritual version of Flame Wingman, which I really like, and it also floats for a Gaia the Fierce Night monster if it dies, whereas Blackluster Soldier is another favourite that I've always liked over the years, and it's nice that he got an upgraded form. But of course I still play both of them in the same deck, just working alongside each other. The support is cool, they're so easy to bring out, even with Super Soldier Synthesis. Best way to bring them out, really, just dumping Beginning Night and Twilight Night into the grave and giving these guys additional effects. It's just so much fun, and yeah, once they go off, it's hard to overcome them. But again, it can sometimes brick, unfortunately, but it's still a lot of fun all the same. I feel like I've said that a lot. Number 7, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Yes, just like Red Eyes, Blue Eyes is one of my all-time favourite dragons. Even though I like Dark Magician more, I've always been a fan of Blue Eyes White Dragon, the strongest normal monster in the game. Of course, it was kind of hard to play in the early days, but later on, there were cards which made it easier to bring out, including Kyber Man, Ancient Rules. But yeah, once it does come out, it's still pretty scary, like, even though it doesn't have an effect. And then, of course, in later years we got better support, which just made the deck formidable. First we had Maiden and Azure Eyes in the structure deck, but then the support we got in Shining Victories just made it absolutely formidable. Same with the release of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon in the movie pack. And the support we got in Battle of Chaos was a nice added bonus. Oh yeah, and True Light in last year's Megatins. It just really bothers me that people keep insulting this card and the support and calling it crap, right? Which I think is just unfair and completely uncalled for. Like, Blue Eyes did nothing wrong. Like, I just don't know what people have against the support and Blue Eyes itself. Alright, yeah, well, I do agree that this and Dark Magician get too much support, like, that still doesn't give anyone the right to insult Blue Eyes and the support cards and call them crap, especially since there's no such thing as a crap card. But all the same, like, regardless of what support we do have, Blue Eyes is still a lot of fun, and very easy to bring out, and yeah, I mean, really that's all there is to say about him. I just love being able to bring out a 3k beta and attack over most things. The support cards are really good as well, like Jet, Alternative Ultimate Dragon, but really nothing beats the original. Number 6, Magician Girls. Basically a more casual version of Dark Magician in a way. Well, I say that because I do play a single Dark Magician in my Magician Girl deck, whereas others don't for some reason. Especially since they're playing Mahard, but it's like, why are you playing Mahard if you're not playing a Dark Magician? Doesn't make much sense to me. But, even so, I've always been a huge fan of Dark Magician Girl as well as Dark Magician, like the waifu, classic waifu, and it's pretty cool and interesting that a whole archetype came about because of Dark Magician Girl, and other versions of her came along, like Kiwi, Chocolate, Apple, Lemon, and Berry, and of course Palladium Oracle Mana, which is sort of an honorary Magician Girl monster. Yeah, they're pretty tricky to play around, or at least regarding attacks, as obviously it can be really dangerous attacking Chocolate, Lemon and Apple, and I guess Berry, although not so much, but then again, why would you even try and attack into a Berry when it can thin the deck? Unfortunately though, it is kind of annoying that people try and get around them, because it's like either they just won't attack into them, unless of course they have Utopia the Lightning or something. Cards that stop monster effects that activate in the battle phase are something this deck can also lose to. Lightning, Armades, Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon, Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, Ancient Gear Chaos Giant. So I've got to find other ways to deal with them when playing this deck. It's still fun all the same, and it's also a deck that can legitimately make full use of Quintet Magician, which is a fun late game option, considering that this is a spellcaster deck that does obviously run a lot of spellcaster monsters with different names. So that is always a handy card to bring out as well. And I still enjoy playing the deck anyway, and it's nice playing a better Dark Magician Girl deck than back in the day, basically. But I still love playing Dark Magician Girl, whether it's in Magician Girls or Dark Magician itself. Number 5, Random All-Stars. A deck that I know Chris Reinhardt really likes. Now, this was something I came up with in 2019. I then kind of warmed up to the idea of playing one copy per card decks, and I just wanted to make one, and I was trying to think of something that would really interest me. Originally I wanted to play some sort of mixture of my three favourite decks again, but it was too difficult to do, so I just put in a load of cards that I like and have played over the years, whether they're main deck options or extra deck options, and it seems to work better than I thought. Well, most of the time it does, but other times it can unfortunately brick. But yeah, it was really just an excuse to play a load of my favourite cards in one deck, including some classic boss monsters like Dark Magician, Summon Skull, Jinzo, and some extra deck monsters like Dark Paladin, Stardust Dragon, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, the Utopia package, Deco Talker, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and some cool little monsters that I enjoy playing, like Karibo, Winged Karibo, and Battle Fader, and some other hand traps like Effect Veiler and Swift Scarecrow. Solemn, even a cool spell and trap lineup, including Solemn Judgment, Solemn Strike, Mirror Force, Super Poly. Oh, and it does play Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, and Dark Armed Dragon as well. Just to kind of make me feel a bit nostalgic about how I played my Dark Magician deck from 2014 to 16. Just backup boss monsters that I could top deck into. And it's just a lot of fun playing one copy of each card and doing different things with them. And sometimes Chris Reinhardt does wonder what happened to it and if it will return. Don't worry, there are plans to bring them back quite soon. If not later on this year, then definitely next year when I celebrate 20 years since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And the deck also makes me feel nostalgic for what I played when I started out, just playing a random deck full of random cards. Which was just great. Number 4, a very famous deck that I played, Legendary Hero. The deck I created back in 2010, which was basically a hero deck that ran the protagonist's ace monsters. Originally these three, Dark Magician, Elemental Hero, Neos, and Stardust Dragon. Then Utopia came along in 2011, and then in later years I tried to figure out a way to play Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Fireball Dragon, and Deco Talker, but it wasn't easy. Of course I can't take full credit for the idea, because this was something that two friends of mine came up with, Not in Lord of Light, now Inkweaver, and Ultimate Gamer 31. And I remember that we were in a Skype call talking about this, and they asked me, is it possible to play a deck with Dark Magician and Neos in it? Now at first I said no, but then I thought, wait, actually there is a way to make it work, because they did have similar support back then. Both level 7 normal monsters, their fusion materials for various fusions, so I could mill them with Prisma and revive them with Monster Reborn, Swing of Memories, Birthright, Call of the Haunted. But I wanted to throw in Stardust Dragon as well and find a way to sync an 8 with that deck. The first build I came up with didn't work very well, because it was running some Gemini cards and Plague. It was just too difficult to play and too bricky. But then another YouTuber, Margin Sage of Darkness, gave me an idea for a build which worked so much better. It was running Debris Dragon, Dandelion, a Treeborn Frog, and it gave me the option to use Black Rose Dragon as well, and actually Trishula later on. And then of course when Excesis came out, I put Utopia in, which wasn't as easy to bring out but at the time, but you know, it worked, and Legendary Hero proved to be one of my very best decks ever, and it worked really well throughout 2011, and I actually won 2 tournaments with it, one of which being the second Kalos Conference podcast tournament, the other one being a regular locals, and in that locals I faced nothing but meta, including Dragoonity's 6 Samurais, Tengu Plant, and I beat the lot of them. In fact, I was amazed I won against 6 Samurais, since that was a terrible matchup for the deck, because Shen and Beast just negate half my deck, so I had to rely on Super Poly to deal with them. Beast was easy, because I could fuse an Elemental Hero with Naturia Beast and make Gaia, but Shen was a different story. It's like I either had to bait out in the gate, or use a very specific strategy, which was to get out one of my Dragon Synchros, activate Super Polymerization, fuse that dragon with Shen, and make Dragon Knight Draco Request. Although that being said, there was one duel where my opponent had me backed into a corner with Shen and Naturia Barkion, and I used Super Poly to fuse them into Dragon Knight Draco Request. Oh, that was so funny and so satisfying to do. Like, I love just defeating hated decks in cool ways like that. Like, unfortunately, in later years, Legendary Hero became difficult to play, especially since we lost Future Fusion and Stratos, and Debris Dragon was limited. So I tried various ways to try and get the deck to work, but it just didn't in late 2013, and there'd be annoying situations where I'd start off quite well, get out the Shining, and then I'd be able to use its second effect, but then I just end up bricking. And it just wasn't the same anymore. Of course, I did find a way to make it kind of work later on, and then later on I did find a way to be able to use Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon, some other pendulums that could allow me to pendulum summon level 7 monsters, and when Master Rule 4 came about, to try and play Decode Talker and Firewolf Dragon, but again, it wasn't easy. Then I found a way to make it work, like much later on, when Stratos came back and was at 3, and ran Pendulum Call as well, and just tried to play one of each of these iconic monsters. But all the same, it's still not as easy to play as it was back in 2011 and 12, but it's still an iconic deck that I played, and one of my very best decks of all time, and one of my absolute favourites of all time. Number 3, Rainbow Neos. My second favourite fusion monster in the game, and it's just one of the greatest fusions ever, if not one of my personal favourites, and something that I started playing in 2008. Now obviously I did see it in the GX anime in late 2007, then I saw it became a real card, and I wasn't originally going to build a deck with it at first, but then I decided to later on in the year, but obviously it wasn't easy, considering this was only a secret and a ghost rare. It was even a bit of a pain getting copies of Rainbow Dragon and Prisma. I managed it eventually, but, and then I successfully built the deck in August 2008, and yeah, it was just a ton of fun. I mean, you could argue that it's not easy to bring out, but it really was. I found ways to make it work. Then, of course, we were running into that annoying ruling with Prisma and Rainbow Neos, where people, including me, made the mistake of revealing it and sending Rainbow Dragon or Rainbow Dark Dragon, which was quite annoying. Even in one of the first duels I filmed with it, I milled a Rainbow Dark Dragon, which I used to play, and then someone said, Prisma can't copy Rainbow Dragon, and I said, yes I can, it's one of the fusion materials listed on it. And then I was given the ruling where it can't mill Rainbow Dragon or Rainbow Dark Dragon because they're not technically specific fusion materials. So if I was to reveal Rainbow Neos with Prisma, I can only mill Neos. And I was like, what? That's fucking stupid and bullshit. Or because it does say the actual names. But later on, I found out it was because of how the OCG printing was worded, because it said Elemental Hero Neos and one Ultimate Gem God monster, which was in the OCG names of Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Dark Dragon. Of course, in recent years they did kind of fix it by giving the dragons and Rainbow Neos an errata. The dragons would say this is always treated as an ultimate crystal monster, and then we got a rare printing of Rainbow Neos in Maximum Gold Eldorado that says Rainbow Neos and one ultimate crystal monster. Still kind of ridiculous though. This meant that in the earlier days this was out, it made the deck a bit hard to play. So basically I had to hard draw Rainbow Dragon in order to make my plays, and there was like fuck all ways to search for either dragon. Like the only cards back then were Witch of the Black Forest and Rainbow Path, but Rainbow Path can only be used in a Crystal Beast deck, and Witch of the Black Forest was banned at the time. So the only other ways were Different Dimension Capsule and Gold Sarcophagus. But unfortunately, Different Dimension Capsule is susceptible to backroom, and I didn't really think of it at the time. I only thought of Coffer in 2010. So I had to use generic hero plays to try and thin the deck as much as possible to get to Rainbow Dragons, E-Call, Stratos, to search out my elemental heroes, Prisma to mill out Neos. But even then it wouldn't always show up. In fact, I was even thankful that Melody of the Awakening Dragon came out in 2015, which gave me a way to search for Rainbow Dragon. And then in 2019 we got Neos Fusion, which made this deck so much better and more consistent. Yeah, there was like, yes, instant Rainbow Neos right away. There were three occasions where I did stop playing this deck for some reason, but I can't remember why. But it did come back, and after I brought it back permanently in 2010, I decided to make it another signature deck, which I don't ever want to get rid of. it's just one of the top 3 favourite and signature decks that I will keep forever, no matter what. Regardless of what happens with this game and what other decks I have. And also, another funny thing about Rainbow Neos is that 2 people kind of didn't appreciate me beating them with this card, one of which being Aaron Henman, and the other one being Weber's 5. That was in that game against Henman. He was playing Machina Light Swarm, which was a cool deck, and I think he was just bewildered by what Rainbow Neos was able to do. And then this was also the deck I used when I first met Weber's 5 8 years ago. He was playing a Utopia deck, and it just seemed to struggle a lot against this deck back then. Hence why it seems to have become an arch nemesis of his. Even though he relates this card more to me, it's still Dark Magician that relates more to me, since I like Dark Magician more and he's my favourite card. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. Number 2, Elemental Heroes, my second favourite deck to play. I've always been a fan of these cards, have been since the mid-2000s when GX started, and I really like that there's a deck based off comic book superheroes. I've always liked comic book superheroes, like ever since I was a kid, like especially Superman and Spider-Man. So I started making the deck in 2005, but didn't finish building it until 2006. I've just had so much fun with this deck over the years. Like particularly when I'd get out Flame Wingman, or my personal favourite elemental hero, Shining Flare Wingman. And no matter how I played the deck over the years, I would always try and build up to Shining Flare Wingman, bring this guy out, and just do a ton of damage and try and win games with him. And he's Shining Flare Wingman just turned so many duels around for me and won me so many games. Whether I was playing Elemental Heroes or Legendary Hero. Yeah, I forgot to mention about Legendary Hero that I did make that deck. That deck was originally Dark Magician / Prism Magician, Elemental Heroes and Rainbow Neos combined, because it was the best way I could think of to make that deck work and build it. A Shining Flare Wingman ended up being the ace monster of my Elemental Hero deck and the boss monster, even though Elemental Heroes don't have a specific boss monster. Shining Flare Wingman has just proved to be my personal boss monster for my own Elemental Hero deck. Regardless of what other fusions I'm playing. I did think about playing a deck specifically based on him, but it's just more fun playing this alongside the other old school Elemental Heroes. And I hope I'm still able to play multiple copies when Power of the Elements comes out. It's not going to be easy trying to pick and choose what to take up for Shining Neos Wingman and Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. Then again, I don't know when we're going to get Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. We shall see. And finally, in at number 1, my most favourite deck of all time, as you can easily guess, is Dark Magician. Yeah, my favourite card, my ace monster, and the longest running deck that I have played over the years. And the second proper deck that I started playing, with the first being Exodia. Now, ever since 2004, it's been in whatever main signature deck I had, whether it's my random deck or whatever variant of Dark Magician I've played over the years, like Dark Paladin, Spellcasters, Dark Magic Strike, Prismagician, Dark Eradicator Warlock, Dark Magic Swarm, Dark Magic Spell Counter, Dark Magician Knight, Dark Eradicator Warlock. Wait, did I say that already? I don't know. Generic Spellcasters, Legendary Hero, Dark Magician Hero, Prophecy Dark Magician, Gagaga Dark Magician, Dark Magician Girl, and Pendulum Dark Magician, but nothing beats a pure build of Dark Magician, which I've played for many years, like ever since like 2005 and 6. Like, no matter how much competitive players insulted this deck and its support, that didn't deter me from playing it in a deck. Like, me and Dark Magician have just been through everything together. Like, and it just wouldn't be right if I didn't play him. Due to just seeing Yugi play this card a lot in the anime, do some cool things with him, and it just made me want to have him. Like, I just, at the start of 2004, I just had to have him in my deck, and I did get him, and I've been playing this one since 2004. Like, yeah, I did stop playing it in 2012, but then started more recently, because I just missed playing my original copy, and I did find a way to still be able to play him in my deck. And I just have a lot more fun playing Dark Magician than anything else I've played over the years, despite people saying, oh, why can't you play something else? I mean, I have played other decks, like, look at this list I've done, and there's even decks that I've played that I didn't even put on this list, but I just have more fun with Dark Magician. Like, simple as that. Although it is annoying when opponents do things to stop me from playing him, like steal control of him from me with like things like Snatch Steal, Brain Control, Monster Reborn, or even just outright banish him, which makes me really annoyed and even upset at times. And it's just like, you'll pay for that. No one banishes my favourite card and gets away with it. And like I said, I swear people only do it just to piss me off. Like, whether it's through DD Crow, Called by the Grave, Book of Life. And it's like, why? Like, what did Dark Magician ever do to you? Like, he did nothing wrong. Same with when, just like with Blue Eyes, people would just insult him and his support cards, like, over the years, and even recently complain that he gets too much support. Again, while I do agree that he does get too much support, like, still, that doesn't give you the right to insult him and call him crap. Yeah, I agree that he and Blue Eyes do get too much support, but yeah, I'm a classic Boss Monster fan. I'm just biased. I do still like it when they do get new support cards, even though it's tricky to figure out how to put it into the deck. And yeah, that is it. That concludes the list of my top 60 favourite decks of all time. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and feel free to let me know what your guys' favourite ever decks are and why. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to put all these videos on my computer now, and then at some point I will cover my top hated decks of all time. So yeah, thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya! Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Richician YouTube channel.